Courtney. I am an entrepreneur, a small business owner, a creative, a mom, a wife, and I am going to share a little bit today about my new brand, Rooney. It's a sewing pattern line, so I am releasing patterns that are for women and children so that people can sew their own clothing. I have some questions to answer at the end of this. If you have any more questions, just let me know and I would love to help you out. I'm just gonna start at the beginning. I had the idea for a sewing pattern line in September. It came from just me coming into my studio and getting to create while my daughter was sleeping. And it really just clicked when I made her a dress from a pattern and I got to make it and finish it in her nap time, and it was actually something that I was proud of, that she could wear, and the process was so fun and I just felt like giddy afterwards. So from that, I knew I wanted to make that for other people. So that's where the idea for a sewing pattern line came from. And from there, I just didn't know anything about patterns or how to design a pattern, so I really just went to Google, started going down paths, taking notes on some kind of common themes I was seeing, terms that I've never heard of before, and so that started to kind of educate me, and I reached out to pattern makers that I've never met before, and that didn't really lead anywhere, but I found my pattern maker when I reached out to a friend, and she had a pattern maker already, but she knew of someone else that she introduced me to, and that was just the connection that I needed to kind of start this whole process. So I reached out to her and it was just perfect timing, and so we started to work together. The first patterns, which is the Betty dress and the Lois wrap onesie, and from there we just went back and forth on Zoom, and she made edits, I made edits, I sent her a sketch, and then she did a mock-up of my dress. When I got this photo, I was just like over the moon. I couldn't believe that I had a photo of a potential dress that I could make and others could make, and I'm just thrilled with how that process went. So from the beginning, when that started kind of evolving, that was like the kick that I needed to keep going, and often I look back at that and that's like the energy that I need to keep going, because months in, it's easy to get a little overwhelmed and look at all the logistics and to-do lists and understand that this is way above my head, but step by step it's happening, it's coming together. In the beginning, this is my notebook. I write all of my ideas in here. I did it with my other businesses, and I just love this notebook. I just started exploring like blue sky ideas, which is just being able to dream about what this could become, what I want it to become, what I want it to be. And at first I wanted it to only be PDF patterns, and that is a pattern that the customer prints out at home and I don't have to ship anything. I'm not handling paper or anything like that. Or I explored just this business. I talked to people, I ran into people at the fabric store. I really knew that I needed to offer print paper patterns, and so that just kind of took me down a whole nother spiral of what this business was going to become, and it kind of seemed a little bit more overwhelming. It was like an innate feeling that I knew I could not do this on my own. So along the process in my other businesses, I've just kind of been the one girl show, and I've done it all. Product, I've shipped the product, I've done customer service, I've just handled it all on my own, and it was really heavy, and I always just saw that there was a ceiling that I was hitting. And so with this business, I really have made it a point to go about it differently and reach out to people and allow their gifts to shine. And in doing that, this brand is something that I'm insanely proud of, because so many other hands have touched it. Just the giftings of other people, being able to do what they do best, photographers, makeup artists, pattern makers, designers, logo, just everything. I feel like I've been able to link arms with other people, and that's really what has brought this along so far. Answer to a lot of my problems have just been finding walls and then understanding I'm not the one to break through this wall. There's someone else that knows the way around better than me, and I really think that that has made this process more enjoyable, and it's making Rooney something that I could never make it on my own. Now I'm in the thick of the logistics, and I would say to always compute some like extra months, maybe like 2 or 3 months for the logistics side of everything. A big part of building Rooney for me is learning my new balance as being a mom and also trying to build a business. And so my husband and I decided early on that this was something that we really wanted to focus on, and Rooney was something to give a lot of our attention to. So 2 days a week we have someone come watch Willow while I come to the shed and work, and then I work as she goes to bed after her bedtime. And then on the days we don't have someone, I work like right now during her nap time. So it has been sporadic. It's been kind of bumpy to kind of figure out what's working for us because every family is so different. But in this season, we feel like this is working for us, and it's going really well. And it has not always been a smooth ride. So I never want to paint the picture that building a business while raising a child is easy, because it's not. Your time is so different when you have a baby. We'll be able to look back and show her what we built while she was young. Some advice that I got from my friend Katie a while back is when you're building a business, you're building something, write down every single thing that you feel like you need to do for that business. Anything you can think of, write it down, and then go back and cut that list in half. And then if you need to, cut it in half again. And there was a point where I was just feeling so overwhelmed with building Rooney, and my time is really limited on this. I have another business and a daughter to take care of, and so I was just feeling overwhelmed. And so I did what Katie said. I wrote down everything that I could think of that I needed to do, then I cut it in half, and then I left those shoulds for later, and if I get to them, I get to them when I have time. I really feel like when you're building a business, it's easy to add fluff to make the process a lot harder than it really is. And so when you get down to the bare minimum, and then you can start building on top of that. So I've really had to do this a couple times and kind of go back to refocus myself of what's actually building this business. Is building my social media really important right now because I need a product first. So I would just please take that advice, because it's so easy to get yourself into just busy work that's really not serving the purpose of your end goal. Through the past 6 months, I've gotten the samples back that I designed on paper, and then someone else gave me the guide of how to do that, and the process was so enjoyable. And at the end, I was just on cloud 9 because it's just so fun to see something you kind of draw out on paper come to life. While it's in my pattern drafter's hands, I'm doing the logistics of learning how to print things, how to print the PDFs and make that a seamless process, doing the behind the scenes website building, social media, kind of figuring out what our brand story is, and there's an amazing book you should read about that. I linked it below. And so I'm doing like the behind the scenes. It's a lot of back and forth because, like I said, there's a lot of hands on this project. The next big momentum push for me was our first brand photo shoot. And so this was a photo shoot where 3 models and then a baby beautiful model came in, and we went to a studio, and we had a photographer, a makeup artist, and I was able to just sit back and kind of watch it all unfold before me. And it was just a beautiful thing to witness and see these designs that I made on paper come to life. And it made me really so much more excited to get these patterns in the hands of other people so that they can make these dresses themselves and the onesies for their babies. So that was like a huge momentum push for me, getting to see this brand that I've dreamt up in this little shed studio and see it come to life through other people's eyes. So I asked on Instagram if you had any questions about building a business and a brand, so I'm going to answer some of those right now. The first question is how to go about legal business aspects about building a brand or a company. And I would say there's a lot of aspects about it, but the main thing is to research. Like I said earlier, don't be afraid of being a beginner, because if you don't ask questions at the beginning, you might get yourself into a situation that you didn't really see coming. So instead of giving you legal advice that I'm not qualified to give you, I'm going to point you to someone who is, and her name is Paige. I've linked her stuff below. She has incredible insights. I would sign up for her emails, I would read her blogs, and I would also purchase a lot of her templates. That's where I get my privacy policies, contracts that I need. I would definitely go to her. Okay, the next question is it better to build a custom site or use a platform like Etsy? And right now, my answer for this is to do both. That's what I'm going to do. I have done this in the past with my other businesses, and in the past I started on Etsy and then I tried to get away from it, but I cannot stress enough how amazing Etsy is when you're first starting a brand. It is an invaluable resource. The price to start is so cheap, like 20 cents for a listing, and then you're paying the fee after you make a sale, and that cannot be beat. I would just do the free version. I think they have some monthly memberships you can be a part of, but honestly, I have run all my businesses off the free version, and I hope you start on Etsy. And the reason is because they have already built a platform full of trusted customers and a search engine that is going to lead people to your product. And Etsy does an amazing job of promoting your site on Google. I think it's really important to have your own website and drive your own traffic and really dive into SEO, and that is a lot of work. It takes specialized people to do that, and so when you're first starting out, I really think Etsy is where you should start. And I used to maybe think like you weren't a real business if you were on Etsy only, but I don't believe that anymore. I really feel like it's the right step for many of us, and so I'm gonna have my patterns on Etsy, and I'll also have them on my regular website, my Shopify. It's an easy platform to use, and you can also do WordPress, and there's a plugin called WooCommerce. I would explore those options and kind of work together with those options. This next question, it says, what are things that are high priority and things that are surprisingly not? Yeah, surprisingly, your Instagram is not the highest priority. And you might be bummed to hear that, but I can attest that I have a business that has only a couple hundred followers, and it makes far more money than any other business I've ever had with thousands of followers. So I really think you need to first focus on your product, focus on your branding, focus on your website and SEO, and if you're having an Etsy, focus on the listings, focus on beautiful photography. That is something you cannot skimp on. And from building all of those things, I believe that once those things are built, it'll make your Instagram so much better. It'll make it so much easier to run because you'll have a running machine over here, and this will be a supplement and this will just become a lot easier. It won't be something that you have to like put all your focus on, all your time wasted on it. And I think Instagram and your social accounts are great. I think they're amazing tools, but I do think that they should be secondary to your product your website experience, your SEO, your photos, all the things that I just said before. How do you utilize others to assist in building your brand? And I've talked about this a lot through telling my brand story earlier. And the main thing is make a list of the must-dos that you must do yourself, the things that are going to drive your business forward that only you can do. Even though you can do something, it doesn't mean you should. So if you can outsource it, I would highly recommend doing that. So the second thing is to just make a list of things that you can outsource and ask questions on and rely on other people, because I could spend an hour watching a YouTube video of how to edit this one file on Illustrator, or I could outsource it to someone that has been working in that field for 10 years and just whip it out in probably 10 minutes or less. And so that's something I've really leaned into, is to ask people for help and set aside a lot of the budget in building a brand for that, because people's time and their giftings are worth the investment. And so I would really say invest in other people helping you. Of course, in the beginning, if you need to take a photo on your iPhone yourself, I think that's a great way to start. And then once you start generating income, you can put that towards investing in other people's gifts. And I think that's just gonna help elevate your brand to a level that you can't do it on your own. Okay, last question I'm going to answer is, where do you start? And I hope this video has hopefully just illuminated some places where to start, but I think the first place to start is with what you can do right now. So if that's building a vision, making a mood board, taking photos, making a list of things that you want to do in the future, whittling that down into a must-do list like I spoke about earlier, I would say just see what is in front of you that you can work on, and then how can you hand that off to someone else so that you can work on the next thing. Hopefully this was helpful. I enjoyed kind of looking back on the past 6 months and building Rooney, and I'm excited to actually launch and get these patterns in your hands. So if you have any more questions, just let me know. I'd love to answer them, and I'll probably do some more behind the brand videos later when I'm actually in the thick of everything and have things going for a little bit. So if you'd like, you can subscribe to this channel, you can follow me on Instagram, and you can find my patterns linked below. Bye!